Okay, this is the 200 series, A to Z, for the August 2020 auction. The Prohibs, except for one exception, and that's in the first lot, the Alpha lot, and you can see this is a display case. Obviously, we're not going to show you any cycling and whatnot, even though I have no doubt, based on a little tiny cylinder ring, and let me open that, you get a better shot of it, of the Python. But these are custom matching serial numbered. It's funny how they did it. In one of them, the Colt officers is 0200DD, and then the Python is DD0200 for serial number. So technically a matching set on the double diamond, and unused, obviously. Now then, actually speaking, the 45 Auto is a Prohib. The Python is actually a restricted, so you will have to have a Prohib license to bid on this one. And because we have no intention of splitting up that set, that would be sacrilege. 200 Charlie, there's not a whole lot of to show you on this one because it is, again, a virtually unused set of Derringers. I don't think they're a his and hers type thing. They called it the Lord Derringer. They're both a Lord Derringer. Seems to me there is a Lady Derringer along the way, but these are probably as close to unused as you're going to get. A little bit of storage use more than anything else, or storage wear, but a very nice set in the fitted case. 200 Delta, so I'm not going to cycle and mess around a whole bunch of that because I don't think they've had a whole lot of that. 200 Delta is a Prohib because of barrel length on the Mauser, 102 millimeter, so that's why it's a Prohib. And on the Red 9 grip, you can see there. And so let's just, most of your stuff you can see in the description. We'll just cycle a little bit so you can hear things. Pretty much what you see is what you get. It is going to function as described. I'm not going to let things slam around too much, but it does lock up. But it's got wear on there. We don't have the holster for it and whatnot. And discoloration on the bluing as it's turning brown there and as it gets worn. Look at the description for that one, but mechanically you can see we're functioning as expected on that one. On Echo, police positive 32. This is in a 32 caliber, so it's a Prohib twice because it's a shorter barrel, 102 millimeter barrel, and a 32 caliber. But look, it's not a lot of use. The grips have sharp check ring on them still. A little bit of cylinder ring on that one. Let's listen to the indexing. Nice and sharp, strong springs, positive. I mean, there's hardly any wiggle in there. It indexes positive each time. Double action, very nice. Single action, very nice. I would suggest that it does not have a lot of use on it as well, which is a pretty common statement for this particular auction, in that it doesn't have a whole lot of use. So buy with confidence on that one. That's on Echo. You know what? Bravo. We did them out of order. I'm sorry. I had them in the table out of order. This is Bravo. This one's fun in that they call it Government Series Lady Colt. It's a Lady Colt because it's smaller and fancy, I'm guessing. I don't think you're allowed to do that anymore, but back then you could. And I'll tell you what. Very little use. I mean, look at that thing. If this was used, the gilding would be worn, finish would be worn, even the front of the trigger. There's nothing. There's nothing for wear. Tiny little bit of storage and handling use where people have been having a little bit of fun with it. It says right on there in the gilding, Lady Colt. Fun little piece. And no reason to say, don't need to play with a whole bunch of cycling and stuff because it has no miles on it. It is a very, very nice representation. Down to Foxtrot, because we did, in fact, everything. Let's go down to Foxtrot on the Detective Special on this one. And we are in 38 Special. It's got the filler piece in there. Slight cylinder ring. Well, a little bit more than slight, but a visible cylinder ring. Holster wear on the front and your assorted high spots. Let's listen for indexing. Again, better than average. It's going to be in used condition, but it is certainly not overused, and it's certainly not abused condition. Checkering is crisp. A little bit extra wear there. Must have been the way it was sort of fun way of handling it there. That was his favorite way, his or hers favorite way of handling it there with the thumb like that. So again, nothing to worry about, nothing mechanically weird about what you're working with there. On Gulf, on the Police Positive, this is in 32, and we have worn finish, turning brown on that one. Nice plastic checkered branded grips on there. You can see it turning brown there. Fixed sights on there. Let's check the indexing. You know, sounds nice and positive because it is. A little bit of discoloration in spots there. Block up pretty good. Needs a good cleaning. It's a little bit more used than the previous one, but mechanically no surprises. You don't have some index not catching or anything like that. The next one is Hotel on the Police Positive Special in 38 Special. It's got Pachmayr grips. We don't have the original grips that go with this one. At least they haven't turned up in any, and I think we've done all the miscellaneous and everything. But sometimes when we do an estate, you don't always know because the person whose collection it was is gone. And they might have said, oh no, the original grips for that are in the desk drawer under the stairs or whatever. We don't always have that opportunity. Indexing is good. Double action. I don't think I've ever seen this many revolvers in one sale. So instead of talking actions, slides and so on, we're talking cylinders. It reminds me of being back in the 80s when revolvers were still so prevalent. And the striker fires were fresh. And so we still had 1911s and revolvers. And so we got so many revolvers. So no surprises on this one. Indexing is crisp. Double and single is crisp, and of course you've got wear. So no surprises there. I don't think you're going to get it home and suddenly find that one of your indexes doesn't work. On Juliet, we got an S&W Smith & Wesson 639. This is a 9mm semi-automatic, stainless, fixed sights. A little bit of not wear. I don't want to say wear. Certainly some storage. It hasn't been cleaned as well as some might do after having it at the range, but that's, you know, that's the worst you can say. Pachmayr grips on it. Very solid feeling action. Locks up nice. Certainly it has some signs of use in there. This is not a safe clean, but it certainly isn't an abuse piece. You just saw the hammer safety on there, and double action and single action. No surprises there. These ones have a lot of trigger take-up on the single action, and so they're certainly no 1911. Checkered at the back, so I don't think any surprises there. I think mechanically it's very strong. It just needs to be taken home like a new baby and given a bath. Kilo. On Kilo, the Luger. I think we've got some sort of customized grips on there. I think we can agree on that. Don't know the history of that. Has it been refinished? I don't think so. Certainly is a bright blue on it. So you've got holster wear. I think that's pretty indicative, and the high spots in the front there. So I think you're probably original in that respect. And, you know, feels nice. I'm reluctant to... It'd be nice to have somebody ahead of me, a roadie ahead of me, filling everything with snap caps, but we just don't have that luxury. But I certainly don't see any surprises in there. Your description is to give you the impression of the piece itself, or all the meat and potatoes of the piece itself, the video, so that you can hear and feel actions and so on. And I don't feel any surprises there at all. That is Kilo. Mike, we have another Luger, a battle style finish on this one. Wooden grips. Let's take the mag out. Give it a feel here. Feels as expected. Nothing's binding, and just as I said that. But I mean, that's not fair because you're not allowing it to slam forward. I don't want to get too criticized for that, so I don't think we're doing too badly on there. Nothing in the way of surprises. As far as matching numbers and whatever, look at your descriptions for that. Don't the video is not intended for that. on November with a box. King Cobra from 1989, 357 Magnum. Stainless steel. Very visible cylinder ring, so there's no reason to think it hasn't been used, so we don't have to feel guilty about cycling it. Indexing is good. Double action is good. And again, they're not Python triggers, but they are very nice triggers. And again, well marked with the King Cobra on that side. Colt branded rubber grips with the finger grooves, and use, but certainly not abuse. And whoever was using it cleaned it well. Feels nice and smooth, and everything seems to operate. And again, with the box, generally you have a better piece. We don't have dates for all of them. In 1989, just haven't had time to look them all up. Some of them we might add yet as we go along. This is virtually the same firearm as the last one, only in blue. And again, the rubbered grips, a little bit of a cylinder ring there, so you can see it. Indexing is good. Doesn't wiggle around in there at all. Double action. Single action. Nice and crisp, so no surprises there. You're not going to have any, you're not likely to have any unusual mechanical surprises that you weren't expecting. On Quebec, this is a Python, 102 millimeter, so just barely short of being a restricted instead of a pro. A little bit of a cylinder ring, so again, I'm not going to feel bad about cycling it. Checkered wooden grips this time, which is nice. Colt branded, and if there was any issue, I'd be so surprised. I mean, this thing looks like it has so little use. This was sitting in the safe for years and years, and probably taken out now and again. Definitely has some signs of use on it, and some leftover cleaning to do, but mechanically it is beautiful, and these have such nice triggers. You don't need me to tell you that, though. So no surprises on that one, on Quebec. Romeo, this is nickel by the looks of it, on the Diamondback 22 long rifle, checkered wooden grips, and I don't see a whole lot of use on that one. Again, when it has the box on it, I see a little bit of schmutz on there. I bet you if I had a little rag, that little piece of schmutz would come off of there. I got my staff wearable rag. So a little bit of schmutz, half of it came off when I did that. So again, very, very little no evidence of abuse, just a little bit of evidence of use. A little bit of a cylinder ring. I mean, it still has that new, not quite worn in. It's a little bit, it sort of doesn't flop. It hangs in place when you're opening it. So that's how low of use it's had. It hasn't been cycled open and closed a million times. So very pleased with the look of that one. On Romeo, on Sierra. This one's different because this is a Smith & Wesson 686, but a newer version. Another slide release knob in there, which has got the different shape to it, the traditional style shape, and then you've got the newer one there. Satin finish on this one. Hogue grips. I don't know if the Hogue grips would have been a factory. I don't think so. So I think that these grips, I don't think we have the factory grips. A little bit of a cylinder ring there, so I'm not going to feel bad about cycling. No surprises there at all. This has a nice trigger. This has got but of course I'm a Smith guy, I'm not going to lie to you. Smith 586s and 686s are way up on my list of favorite firearms, and I don't think this has much use. And again, having the box there is often indication that something has had a little better care and attention. On the Colt 357, the model of 357, and the caliber is of course 357. Big, huge blade front, and then a adjustable rear sight. Wooden checker. This one's got the trigger add-on, the extra wide trigger, which I kind of like. I think you get a much more accurate shot out of it. You're indexing, snug. You semi-automatic guys are getting tired of all this revolver cylinder. I get it. I understand. But I think if you're sitting at home in Northern Ontario, I'm hoping that you would rather see us do this and bore you with some of the pieces that you're not interested in than to not have that opportunity to get that little bit better, more eyes-on look. No surprises mechanically on this one. A little bit of a cylinder ring there. You do have the original box with it. And again, very light use. Be proud to own that one. Anaconda is the next one, 200 uniform. So that's got a big honkin' 44 bore on that one. Cylinder ring on that. So I'm not going to be afraid to rotate. But there's going to be, I already know there's not going to be an issue. First of all, I've handled all of these pieces several times in the last few months. So I'm pretty intimate with the collection. And so there's not going to be too many surprises for me, but you never know. And so I don't see any issues there. That was just your lockup. You know, it's a bit deceiving when you're just, you know, trying to hold it so you're not doing a real gross dry fire. But a nice trigger there. These are not, again, a Python trigger. Anaconda well emblazoned on the side there. But they're a nice trigger. That's in the 44 Magnum. Big bada boom! On whiskey, on the Victory. Smith & Wesson Victory, 38 Smith & Wesson. It's actually marked Smith & Wesson Special. And that reminds me, on one we already did in a different Prohib class, it was the new, the Hong Kong one, I believe is marked Smith & Wesson, or 38 Special, but the cylinder is actually for sure just 38 Smith & Wesson. That's part of the description, though. These videos, I want to be more about you getting the opportunity to cycle a piece as if you were in the room viewing that. You've already narrowed it down. Oh, I wanted to see more about that one. I just want to be able to handle it, and I'm hoping these little videos will do. It's the first time we've done them. The indexing was very nice on that. The usual wear you would expect, a little bit of holster wear. Everything feels smooth. You know, it needs a good bath. You know, I know every time I buy a new firearm, that's one of my favorite things is to just completely strip and clean and inspect, and I really enjoy that part of the hobby. On 200 Victor, we have a Webley Mark IV service in 455. Lots of brown finish on it. Lots of markings that you'll see better in the photographs and the lanyard ring and so on. So let's talk about indexing. It's not going to be as tight as for, you know, a virtually unused Python, but I mean that's a nice lockup on that cylinder. There's nothing to be embarrassed about there if you're out clubbing. And again, nothing to be, you know, they're not supposed to be a butter smooth trigger. This is exactly what you would expect out of that trigger. Ejection is good. Hinge feels good. Got some nice markings on there. This one I remember, you'll have to look in the catalog where the markings were, I think it was a serial number crossed off and then redone. This might be the one. And a nice representation. You can feel even that the lockup is good. I think you'd be proud to own that one. X-ray Prohib, again, a little bit on the short side. 93 millimeters. And really nice finish on this one. This one, again, has very little use. 45 ACP, nice big hole in it, and very low miles. You can tell it has a little bit of use. I mean, there's virtually no residue on the feed ramp and under the barrel, so obviously, I mean, that stuff gets cleaned off as well. But one of the right side rear dot on the rear sight is missing. A little bit of paint or whatever they use for a product there to make that colored is gone. And this is so new. This has so little miles on it. Everything feels just a little bit stiff yet. You know, especially on these. I was weaned on 1911s. I love them. And so this one just feels a little bit stiff yet in the safety, but it does work. And the trigger feels nice. So again, you can buy that one with pride as if almost new. 200 Yankee. This one's got some finish issues on the 1903 380. And I'll tell you why. In fact, we'll address that first. I think this we might have even tried to decipher it. Look in the catalog. Well, you already see the lot number, 200 Yankee. Why we're doing these in order, so you can have some semblance of figuring out what we're doing. And there was some electric pencil maybe or something in there, and it got scratched off. So was it a inventory number? and somebody didn't know, it's just a gun, scratched a number in there or whatever. Still some surface rust on the front, but mechanically, we still feel snug and tight. So you're mechanically, you still have a good user. This is a good piece to actually go out and use, and you're not going to worry about if you get a bit of markings on it, because it does already have some. More so on that side, but even here you've got a little bit of surface rust. But mechanically, it feels really quite nice. I think you'll be okay to own that one. As a user, you don't buy it as a pristine, because it isn't. On the Zulu, the last one in this lot, this was in .32 caliber on the 1903 pocket hammerless. Finish-wise, much better than the other one, with a little bit of pitting, not uncommon. Grips look good, no cracks or anything in there. And these things, of course, they always sit in the safe forever and ever, and they get a little bit dry, and that's why you take it home and you baby it and you clean it up and you get some nice fresh oil on it. And but it does feel, mechanically, it feels very nice. And again, your surface, more so storage issues than use issues as far as any sort of finish condition is my opinion on that one. So that's your 200 series. We still got a lot more to go, and we're going to do the long guns too. We have a lot more to go, so let's just get these put away and get another batch out.